I'm Jack Kartush, and this is part 3 of Best Practice Guidelines on Facial Nerve Monitoring. Today we'll focus on a new recording electrode montage to make monitoring safer and more effective. Over the last 40 years, facial nerve monitoring has become an important adjunct to reduce the risk of iatrogenic facial nerve injury. Over time, incremental changes are made to hardware and software, and now we recommend strongly a change in the recording electrode montage to improve efficacy and safety. The goal of optimizing recording electrodes should be to maximize the recording sensitivity as well as to minimize artifact. To reduce errors, we strongly recommended consistent color coding so that blue eyes, red lips, green ground, and a white anode has been adopted by most centers throughout the world. The location of the recording electrodes at orbicularis oris and oculi have not changed, but we experimented with different locations for the anode and the ground electrodes. Original placement of the anode and ground electrodes at the scalp as well as the preauricular area exhibited too much stimulus artifact, and therefore alternative locations were sought. After a great deal of experimentation, it turned out that the sternum was an ideal location for both anode and ground electrodes. Stimulus artifact was almost completely abolished without incurring any new electromagnetic ambient interference. The next step in the evolution was going from 2 channels to 4. Most devices, such as the NIM, only had 2 channels at first, which was fine for monitoring facial nerve from ear to brain. For parotidectomy, 4-channel monitoring was preferred in order to monitor frontalis and mentalis muscles. We sometimes got around that by spreading the bipolar electrodes, but it would then increase the chance of electromagnetic interference. With time, however, 4-channel and even 32-channel devices became commonplace, and therefore we are now making recommendations for 4-channel monitoring being the routine. The question, therefore, is how to best benefit from the 2 additional channels. The following, therefore, represents our strong recommendations for the use of 4-channel facial nerve monitoring. This diagram shows that channels 1 and 2 are unchanged. Channel 3, however, is the addition of the mentalis muscle. Surprisingly, this channel can exhibit some of the highest amplitudes, greater than orbicularis oculi and oris, therefore being able to sometimes detect small amplitude responses that would be below threshold of these other channels. Therefore, while channel 3 is used to increase sensitivity, we are using channel 4 to help detect artifact. We refer to this as the reference or control channel. There are many muscles that could serve this purpose, but for facial nerve monitoring, masseter and trapezius are most practical. Here is an example provided by Kent Rice from our best practices in facial nerve monitoring. You can see that the presence of nearly identical waveforms in the reference channel indicates artifact and not true EMG responses. In summary, with the availability of 4-channel monitoring, we strongly recommend channel 3 be used for mentalis muscle to provide increased sensitivity, and channel 4 be used to help identify artifact at the masseter or trapezius muscles. Rapid adoption of this new protocol at all centers is highly recommended to increase monitoring safety and efficacy.